Let's begin the conversation in Nigeria, where 7 political parties in the country have formed a coalition to offer strong opposition to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Now, the parties are the People's Democratic Party, PDP, New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, African Democratic Congress, ADC, and the Allied People's Movement, APM. The others are the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Young Progressives Party, YPP, and the Zenith Labour Party, ZLP. Now, the new coalition is tagged Coalition of Concerned Political Parties. Missing out of this party is the Labour Party. And of course, to shed more light on this particular development is Dayo, Kayode, Sociopolitical Technocrat, and PDP member, Lagos, Nigeria, and Abuh, political party, that's an APC member and chairman of the Progressives Forum, joining right now on the program. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation, gentlemen.
Yes, it's my pleasure being with you this evening. Good evening, Nigeria, and good evening everywhere that you're watching us.
All right, Kayode, thank you so much. Let me, of course, start off with the national chairman of the SDP, Dayo, Gabam, saying that the coalition is not a merger, but rather a united front against the ruling party. I mean, this somewhat looks like something similar to what we've seen in the past. But looking at this particular development, will you say that all is in order with this recent moves by opposition party and the fact that they are calling themselves a coalition and not a merger?
Yes, yeah. You see, in every democratic dispensation, you expect so many forms of relationship to happen because you have, that's what we call freedom of association. And when you are associating, it depends on the kind of association you are having and where you want it to lead to, that will now determine how you study. Like what they are having now, like the chairman of the SDP said, what they are having is a coalition and not a merger. It can be likened to a male and female when they are having a relationship. They call each other boyfriend, girlfriend. All right? But after a while, when they find out that, yes, their chemistry can match properly, they can now say, okay, let us go to either the registry or the customary court or wherever, and they become husband and wife. So that's the analogy I'm going to give that, because as it is now, there is no time other than now for Nigerians to come together as one. Moving away, eschewing from all forms of primordiality. Because what we are experiencing in Nigeria now is nothing but excruciating pains. Not only when Nigerians can come together and express a common voice based on their commonalities, the suffering will continue. So, with what the chairman of SDP has said, is still saying is still on the right track. You can also go back to what the presidential candidate of PDP said the other time.
I was about going to that. I understand you're also, a member of the People's Democratic Party. You've said that right now it appears like the arrangement is at its cutting stage. I mean, using your analogy. So, are there signs that at some point it might solidify into some sort of concrete merger towards the 2027 polls?
Yeah, as it is presently, you cannot say that there are signs or no signs of it to solidify, because at the preliminary stage, you're going to be removing the shafts and then dotting the i's and all that. At the end of the day, whoever now sees that, yes, they could come together in the final analysis as a party, Yes, they will. But between you and me, it is rather too early to envisage whatever is going to come out of this coalition.
Any idea why, you know, the strong opposition, that's the Labour Party, isn't part of this arrangement yet?
No, you cannot say Labour Party as a strong opposition is not yet a member of it, because between you and me, you wouldn't know what and what the leadership of both PDP, Labour Party, NNPP, and all that are saying behind closed doors. Also, mind you, in Labour Party, there is what we call a kind of disunity there, whereby we have two different structure in Labour Party. So if one is not talking, you don't know what the other one will be saying behind the doors. So don't let us foreclose the relationship of part of Labour Party with such a coalition.
Now, of course, the chairman also expressed worries over some of the ongoing governorship election litigations in the country. He actually did state that the judiciary should not allow politicians to infiltrate their ranks. Now, are these assertions particularly in any way valid, given what we've seen, you know, across tribunals, across some of the cases post-elections that have been taken to court?
There is no doubt about it that there have been some kind of infiltration by the politicians among the rank and file of the judiciary, and this can be seen even right from the kind of this election, salami, during the Ekiti Tribunal, Osun State Tribunal, I think one of the states in the north. Now, if you also look at most of the judgments that have been dished out in this last election, you're going to see a kind of the judiciary validating the violations within the last general election. There are a lot of violations that are very, very open, that nobody can even hide away from it. For instance, the double domination of Shetima is there. Going further, we also see that of Lagos State gubernatorial election, whereby the electoral guideline and the constitution stipulates that the National Working Committee of a party should come to the state to conduct primaries for the gubernatorial election. But even at the court, you see even the only witness of APC, saying that it was the state executive council that conducted the primary election. So what do we say about that? Even look at what happened. Look at what happened in the states and some other areas like that.
But there are also scenarios that the APC also lost, seats, where after, it was decided at tribunal level.
Listen, my brother. It's not about losing one tribunal by one party or the other. But we are talking about electoral infractions. We are talking about electoral violations that are very glaring and that are validated by the judiciary. What do you expect anyway when you have people like what's his name again? Okoro in the bench. Somebody that are judged to have taken bribe from politicians in the past. Somebody that when the last administration sent DSS or whatever to his house to go for searching, we knew how much foreign currency were found in his house. And you still having such a person at the bench. How will a confirmed snake not be snaky? So when you are now seeing a confirmed snake exhibiting the characteristics of a snake being snaky, what do you expect? And that is why I wrote in my last paper, in one of my papers, as regards validation of electoral violations of the judiciary in the last Nigeria 2023 general election.
Now, the coalition wants to offer some sort of strong opposition for the good of Nigerians. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they said they came together. Now, we've seen in the past, if you cast our mind back, there was a time your party, that's the PDP, was at the helm of affairs for 16 years. And of course, we saw that during the time General Muhammadu Buhari was about to come into power, we saw a lot of mergers and coalition, and none of them seem to have the same narrative towards the collective good. And right now, Nigeria is where it is today. So my question to you is this. Is this movement more or truly indeed for the collective good of Nigerians, or more of a reflection of the political ambitions of some politicians who are desperate to get power?
Well, either anybody likes it or not, politics emanated from the concept of democracy. And when you're looking at democracy, which says government of the people, by the people, for the people, it does not, the one we are practicing in Nigeria, doesn't allow for independent candidature. Rather, emergence through a political party. And why does political party exist? Political party is not existing to come and be playing Ludo or to be playing draft or chess. Rather, to gain power and control the distribution, the distribution and the exploitation and distribution of the resources of the polity. Now, if like you said, PDP lost power to APC in 2015, definitely you wouldn't expect PDP and its members to go to sleep and leave the whole thing for APC. But the most important thing now is it is not left for the people. It is not left for the people to decide and look and take a proper assessment as regards the circumstances during the reign, 16-year reign of PDP, and then compare it to, I think, about 9-year reign of APC now. If you go to the market and then look at price indices, that will give you a better clue to understand which one understands the process of governance than each other. But one thing I'm very happy with, as I was thinking this afternoon, in Yoruba, they always say, that is not until when a woman has tasted 2 different men will he know which one is better. And I think Nigerians, if only we are ready to agitate and query scientifically, we'll be able to know what to do next time towards moving Nigeria forward to be among the committee of nations that are doing well.
All right, Dayo. Now, there are also speculations that Nigeria is gradually drifting towards a one-party state. Do you share this sentiment?
Exactly. You see what Wike is doing, for instance. Look at what Wike is doing with APC. Of recent, the APC chairman himself dissolved the structure of APC in Rivers State and installed, what's his name again? Former governor Wike's cronies there. He installed Wike's crony. That means Wike had been specifically now planted in PDP to keep on fomenting problems. 1. 2, it should also look at some of the judgments that have been given, you will see a kind of the hands of a fifth columnist. Like what the judiciary is doing presently. There's another Yoruba day that says, "Legbelegbe tó ń jó lórí omi, òun lẹ̀ ń rí. Rí eléyìí tó ń lùlù fún lábẹ́ odò." That is, that small fly that always dance on top of water is what you are saying. It's not just dancing. Somebody somewhere underneath the water is beating the drum of which he's dancing to, but you are not saying it. So not until when we have the real, I'm saying real now, separation of power in this country, whereby the judiciary is free from the executive, while the legislature is also allowed to do its own business by itself. Man, we're going to see something different from what we're saying. Because those people in power now, they don't want to relinquish it. And the only way they can do that is by hijacking some of those states that are being controlled by the supposed opposition. And they are not leaving any leave unturned towards achieving that.
But I'm sorry, you said that they don't want to relinquish, the power. But again, the process of democracy demands that, at least in Nigeria, every 4 years, an election is conducted. Whether you like it or not, whether you love the seat or not,
whereby
everything is subject to what happens at the polls. So, I mean, that might just want to negate your statement, just a while ago.
No, nothing negates each other. And all I'm saying is because I am talking ahead of what I'm thinking. As regards, yes, election is supposed to hold, but whereby some people are sitting down somewhere and saying, listen, let them hold their election. Don't worry, we are going to go out there, steal victory for me, and run away with it. Let them go to court. I mean, is that not what we are experiencing now? In a situation whereby somebody decides to steal your property, and he say, oh yeah, take me to the police station. You should be very, very aware that his brother or uncle or father or niece or whatever is the head of that police station. And that is what we are saying now, whereby the judiciary have been pocketed. I mean, you can imagine that Tito, retired Supreme Court Justice, is coming on the day that he was retiring from the bench. You can imagine such a comment. Then you will know how rustic our judiciary has gone. How rustic they are now. Even what's his name? Barrister Banire also alluded to it. Banire is a member of APC. He also alluded to it.
All right.
To the degradation.
Okay.
Our present judiciary has descended to.
Okay. I mean, just before I let you go, what do you see eventually, panning out concerning this coalition? Do we see the coalition, being sustained till the elections and maybe morphing into a proper political party, or it's just going to be another, meeting of politicians for a while, which will fizzle out, into several branches come 2027?
Well, I hope, I wish, and I hope that the coalition will for each day that breaks, keep cementing the relationship, because one of the ingredients of democracy is the opposition, and what makes democracy to achieve what it's supposed to achieve is through opposition. And as much as the opposition is ready to do what is expected of it, I will also want to admonish the ruling party not to engage in any form of suppression of the opposition, so that one, dividend of democracy will be given to the people. And secondly, our nascent democracy will not be derailed.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Dayo, Kayode. Of course, we sincerely appreciate, of course, your time on the program. All right, but before I let you go, just quickly, I'm told, of course, that our second guest has just joined in. So maybe if you can just wade into one or two issues. That's Abuh Andrew, political, of course, party member. Thank you so much for your time joining in, Abuh.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me. Okay. Sorry, I joined the program late.
Okay, good. But quickly before, of course, we'll wrap up on this first half of the program. What do you make of the coalition? Of course, they said it's not a merger, just a coalition. And the fact that, according to the national chairman of the SDP, it's for the good of Nigerians. And for now, they're not a merger, but a coalition. Would you say all of this is still in order?
Yeah, it's a welcome development as far as I'm concerned. And for us in the APC, viral opposition is very important. You know, I think it's high time we started having opposition that will, you know, put the government on their toes, okay, for the things that, you know, we need to do that is not done the way, you know, the Nigerian people expect it to be done. So it's a welcome development, but of course, you know how these things work. You know, sometimes people leave the substance of, you know, what opposition is about and, you know, take on the things that are more of destructive than you know what opposition should be like. So yes, so for me and for us in the APC, it's a welcome development, and we wish them all the best in their collaborative coalition.
Okay, now, I mean, there are also speculations as regards the fact that it appears the judiciary has been compromised. I mean, some would say, looking at what we've seen at the tribunals, where, of course, some of the, particularly when it comes to governorship elections, there's been a lot of upturn, even, you know, to the Supreme Court level. What do you make of this?
So it's funny when things when things doesn't go right, or when things doesn't go the way some people want it to go, and it becomes that the government or the opposition or the government in power is stifling the judiciary or has the judiciary in their pocket. You know, we've had different cases. Now you mentioned gubernatorial election cases. So Bauchi, for instance, is a state that is a PDP state. Of course, the appeal court affirmed the governor. Adamawa State, they affirmed the governor as well. Okay, so why when it is in favor of the APC, it becomes that the judiciary is under threat or the judiciary has been pocketed? You know, so we need to really look at these things and not only praise the judiciary when it is in our favor or cast aspersion on the judiciary when it doesn't look like it is favoring us. Okay?
So are you saying the judiciary so far has been fair?
The judiciary is an arm of government, okay, and it is run by human beings. And as far as I can say, I don't think I'm in the best position to start at judging whether the judiciary has been fair or not being fair. Okay, matters are brought before courts, and they are taken by the evidence in front of you know the courts. Okay, so as maybe unfair people think the judiciary will be, the judiciary will only deal with matters that are in front of them and the evidences that are in front of them, okay? So, and there are, of course, you and I know that there are a lot of technicalities in the court of law, okay? So all that forms the outcome of a judgment, you know, in any case, be it political or criminal, okay? So for me, I don't think I'll be in the best position to start at judging whether the judiciary has been fair or unfair. Of course, we we have situations where, sometimes people can have, their disparities or whatever, they think should have happened and did not happen. Okay. So let us always continue to, applaud the judiciary and see where, they can.
I think I would like to take Dayo's opinion on this. Sorry, Abuh. Dayo, would you say so far, to some extent, Nigeria's judiciary as regards some of the petitions being presented, as a fallout of the general elections and the off-cycle elections, would you say the judiciary has been fair?
Yeah, you see, this question, it's so open, and the factors responsible for either side of your question are also there. It's all about technicalities versus substantialities. The electoral guidelines are stated that, listen, whichever election that the leading candidate is not having an overwhelming leading figures as regards the number of votes remaining to be counted, that election remains inconclusive. I'm talking now about Ogun State gubernatorial election. What are we seeing in court? Is it about the substance that, okay, the elections that are remaining to be undertaken in Ogun State, the number of voters there are higher than the number of votes that Dapo is leading Adegboye with? I mean, for goodness sake, what is the big deal about that? For you to now be cracking your brain. The electoral law has stated it. What is the big deal to know that somebody who had been nominated by the party as a senatorial candidate was again nominated as a vice presidential candidate? Is a double nomination, and such should be counted as null and void? What is too big to understand there? Why are you bringing technicalities away from substantiality? So when you take an aggregate overview of most of the cases that the judiciary had given as regards this particular 2023 election, which had been the most ever contested in court since 1999, then you will see that the judiciary is not helping our democracy.
Now, talking about democracy,
is not helping our democracy.
Now, talking about democracy, sorry, I would just like to come in here. Talking about democracy, right? There's also a lot of talk as regards the progress of Nigeria's democracy. Yes, we know that we have witnessed, the country has witnessed transition of power, from one democratically elected government to another, and it's been unsuccessful successively for a while right now. But the crux of the matter right now is, are people really enjoying the dividend of democracy, and also the process of even the transition, of power? Is it transparent enough, and does it actually reflect the will of the people? Gentlemen, I'd like to start with you, Abuh. What is your take on Nigeria's democratic progress?
So our democratic progress is still a work in progress. Okay, and I think if I will score it, I'll say we're doing fairly well. Okay, and the reason is,
give it a number. 10 being the highest.
I'll give it a 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5, and I'll tell you why. We've had a situation where in 1999 to 2003, where results are just written and announced, and nothing happens. But today, we have had technology introduced into our electoral process that has given a relatively. So I'm not saying that it is Uhuru yet, we still have work. There are still work to be done, but we are making progress. We're making reasonable progress, because if we look at democracies from developed countries, their democracy has lasted for, some 200 years, some 250 years, and what have you. Okay. Now, we have had stable democracy since 1999 till date for just 23 years. And for me, I think we are still making a reasonable progress. And it is a gradual process, okay? We'll always keep fine-tuning the things that will give our democracy that legitimacy that everybody longs for, okay? Right. We know that there are still issues here and there. But of course, it is a work in progress. And that is why the Electoral Act is always being amended, to suit our current situations and the predicaments from previous elections and what have you.
Okay, yes. I mean, just quickly, I'd like to know Dayo's take, 30 seconds.
You see, for me, number one, our democracy is retarded. Retarded in terms of, like he said, before now, we have not been using technology. But then, at that, we have been having fewer candidates contesting irregularities in elections. Fewer candidates. Unlike this one, that we spent over 300 billion naira in securing electronics into this election. And what happened at the end of the day? We filtered it away. And then we're now having more than what it had been in the past, contesting results of election. That is one. Two, when you're also looking at judiciary, you're going to see that the judiciary of the past is different from what we are seeing now. You see those juries looking at the substance of cases in front of them. And we have not been having a tagged, how do I put it now? Somebody that are taking bribe for one politician or the other, a tagged corrupt jurist. We have not been seeing them, unlike what we are seeing now.
All right, Dayo.
When you're also looking at dividends of democracy, you're going to see that nothing as regards dividend of democracy, whereby the money being allocated to renovate, not build, to renovate the residencies of the president and the vice president is about times 10 of how much was allocated to the old Nigerian students' loan that even they still cannot access. Is that dividend of democracy?
All right, Dayo, I'm sorry, but I know we can go on and on, but thank you so much, gentlemen. Dayo Kayode, a socio-political technocrat, PDP member also from Lagos, Nigeria, and Abuh Andrew, APC member and chairman of the Progressives Forum and member of the Presidential Inaugural Committee. Gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
All right, now the show continues in a bit. This time around, when we return, we will be going to Sierra Leone. Stay with us.